always told that that ship could never sink. And then suddenly, it stood up on end, straight up, and it went right down straight.
And they never had any chance of getting to shore, sir. Never with that boat, never.
And I propose to drink to the Britannic, to the splendid ship that you have been on board, and that had such a tragic fate, to the Britannic.
In London, Captain Cousteau greets 8 known survivors of the famed British hospital ship sunk by enemy action in World War I.
And we were just served with our porridge, and suddenly there was a big bump.
You felt it well?
Yes, we felt it, and the ship sort of rose up and came down again. And nothing happened for a minute or two, and then the captain got up and he said, "Ladies, you know what that is. Will you go to your cabin straight away, get your life belts, and get up onto the top deck as quickly as ever you can. Don't waste any time."
Once we got all the ladies off, it was every man for himself. And we just drifted past the propellers. We were just lucky we got clear. But I saw one lifeboat getting cut up. So I saw arms and legs go up there.
They never had any chance. And if they'd stopped the engines, those people would not have been cut up with the propellers.
Was the Britannic torpedoed or did it hit a mine? Which is your opinion?
My opinion is she got torpedoed.
I say torpedoed because, as I told you before, on the 5th journey, I saw the submarine.
And it was a torpedo, if not 2 torpedoes. It was not a mine.
Mrs. Mitchell, what is your opinion? Was the ship torpedoed or did it hit a mine?
Oh, torpedo, without a doubt.
Without a doubt, torpedo. Thank you. Now you, Mrs.
Without a doubt, torpedoed. They
Without
fired
a
2
doubt,
of them.
torpedo.
At least one torpedo, at least.
It was a mine without a shadow of doubt.
You know what Rudyard Kipling said about war?
No.
And I read a lot of Kipling. He said, and I think it's the best thing to say about politicians in war. When a war starts, the first casualty is truth.
Launched as sister ship to the Titanic, 6 months before World War I, the Britannic is also doomed. Then the largest ship ever built, she will go down off Greece amid charges of wartime outrage a year after being commissioned. Following the path of the Britannic on her 6th and fatal voyage, the Calypso heads eastward into the Aegean, stormy cradle of Western man. Here, past the shattered splendor of Poseidon's temple, the Britannic steamed to take on wounded from the Allies' failing Dardanelles campaign. Nearby, off Kea Island on November 21st, 1916, she was racked by explosions and quickly sank with a loss of 30 lives. For 6 decades, the questions have remained. Was the Britannic carrying war supplies? Whether struck by a mine or a torpedo, how could a single weapon have finished such a supposedly unsinkable ship? The answers lie in Kea Channel. At last on station, at the point indicated on the British Admiralty charts, the Calypso sends a signal aloft, warning other ships in the heavily traveled channel that she will be unable to maneuver. A sonar side scanner fish, covering a quarter-mile path, is lowered to augment the Calypso's vertical echo sounder, and the search begins. Hour after hour, under the watchful eye of Dr. Harold Edgerton, famed electronics inventor, the sonar signals reveal a lengthening profile of the sea bottom. As the days pass and the Calypso sweeps slowly to and fro on her search pattern, the graphs and dials give no evidence of the Britannic.
Attention, pour attention. 260. 260.
C'est au 152 à 3002. Le prochain point sera à 36. 45 secondes.
47 secondes.
15 secondes.
500 000.
2, 1, stop.
Stop.
Still no sign. Something is wrong. Puzzled, Cousteau widens the area of search.
de 300 et 3000.
150 ou 300 et 3000.
Line, the same one, the same one.
The same one. Ah, oh! Oh, un point, s'il vous plaît! Il a maintenant. Elle est là, elle est là. Oh là là! Ah là là, on est dessus. Oui, oui, bien.
At last, the telltale trace on the graph. 3 miles from the position shown on the Admiralty chart, the Britannic has been found.
D'accord, bien reçu. Il y a beaucoup de mou dans celle-là, il y a beaucoup de mou. La bouée est à l'eau, il y a beaucoup de mou. Hein.
Et là, surtout qu'il ne faut pas se gourer. Hein.
In a briefing session with the divers, Cousteau considers the difficulties of exploring the great liner's 50,000-ton hulk, compares it with a scale model of the Calypso's 3.5-ton soucoupe or diving saucer. It is, he remarks, like a flea on an elephant. It is the 2-man soucoupe that will make the first reconnaissance of the sunken vessel. Completely self-contained, propelling itself by jets, the saucer can remain underwater for as long as 4 hours, achieving depths far beyond the reach of free-swimming divers. On bottom, the lights of the diving saucer at first reveal only random bits of wreckage. A steel hatch cover, the crushed flotation tank of one of the shattered lifeboats, a broken mast. Then, out of the dark, looms a darker silhouette. On her port side, as if in dreamless sleep, lies the immense body of the Britannic. Later, aboard the Calypso, Chief Diver Albert Falco describes a videotape made during the descent.
On a d'abord trouvé une cheminée, quelques tubes, et puis finalement une énorme silhouette sombre devant nous. Et là, on était arrivé sur la coque. Tout de suite, on a...
Though parts of the exterior are surprisingly preserved, even some unbroken panes of glass, a section of wood paneling near the bridge. The hull's iron plates from stem to stern are encrusted with oysters, coral, sponges, and other sea growth. Though some of the huge liners, 2,000 portholes, were open at the time of the explosion, it had little effect on the swiftness with which she sank, despite a commonly held belief. Yet in the brief 55 minutes before she went down, calm and orderly procedures effected the rescue of almost all the 1,136 medical personnel and crew aboard. The size of the wreck makes any general view impossible. Like a monstrous man-made reef, it rises from sea bottom, 94 feet high and nearly 900 feet long.
Alors, pour vous, on ne peut rien voir, on ne peut pas avoir de vue d'ensemble. Alors, ce qu'il faut, c'est descendre, organiser des plongées.
Search of its vast bulk for possible war contraband, Cousteau now realizes, will demand the most detailed organization to be accomplished safely.
On en aura vite le cœur net.
The depth of the Britannic creates serious problems. Returning to Marina Zia near Athens, the Calypso takes on helium to mix with oxygen and nitrogen for the dives, thus preventing narcosis and the often fatally impaired judgment that results. An SDC, or submersible decompression chamber, also is taken aboard to relieve divers from long periods of waiting in the frigid water. Her decks and holds crammed with special equipment, the Calypso hurries back to Kea Channel. Also on board is a highly interested observer, the vice president of the Titanic Historical Society. Long a student of ship disasters, William Tantum speculates on causes of the Britannic sinking.
What I think happened, I put myself in that man's mind consciously. This area had been swept of mines 2 or 3 days previously. All right? And the submarine should, the periscope comes up and they take a look. The first thing you're going to see is a great deal of people moving around on the deck. And these people are members of the Royal Army Medical Corps, the RAMC. And they wore khaki uniforms, the officers, very similar to the regular Army. The nurses and the orderlies wore a different type of khaki, a lighter khaki. But the officers who were on the first class deck area wore regular military